This is what I heard with my own ears in the 8th month of my pregnancy, right outside my husband's office door. I'll bet the kid isn't mine. 1 million. You in or not? Just one door between us. And my belly became a chip on their gambling table, worth tens of millions. And I had just found his vasectomy record from a year ago. My name is Hannah. I'm 8 months pregnant. Today, after my prenatal appointment, I was organizing my paperwork. A sheet of paper slipped out of the folder. I picked it up, glanced at it, didn't understand it, looked again. It was a surgical certificate. Vasectomy. Patient, Ethan Miller. My husband. Date of surgery, March of last year. My brain stalled. Last March? I only found out I was pregnant last month. I'm 8 months along. The timing didn't match. Not even close. Cold spread through my body. My hands started shaking. I pressed my palm to my belly. The baby moved. Ethan had a vasectomy a year ago. Then whose child was I carrying? No, that wasn't right. I had only ever been with Ethan. Never anyone else. So what was this? The strange thing was, I didn't cry. I didn't even feel like crying. I was just cold. A deep, bone-level cold. I sat there for a long time. My thoughts replaying the past year like a movie. Ethan traveled more for work. Came home exhausted. Our sex life, almost non-existent. He always said he was under a lot of pressure. I believed him. Lately he'd been very sweet to me. Touching my belly. Saying how excited he was for the baby. All lies. I stood up. My legs felt weak. But I didn't fall. I stuffed all the documents, including the vasectomy certificate, into my bag. I needed to ask him. Now. I drove to his office. On the way, my hands were steady. Stop at red lights. Go on green. Like a robot. I reached the office building and went straight to the top floor. His office. The elevator doors opened. I walked toward his door. It was closed. I heard men laughing inside, more than just Ethan. I stopped outside. My hand rested on the doorknob. I didn't push. I heard Ethan's voice. Amused, so yeah, it's a guaranteed win. There's no way anything could go wrong. Another man laughed. Damn, Ethan, you get a vasectomy and she still gets pregnant? So whose kid is it? All the blood in my body seemed to freeze. This wasn't cheating. This was a setup. My hand slipped off the doorknob. I stepped back quietly and pressed my ear closer to the doorframe. I barely breathed. Ethan spoke again, lazy and relaxed. Who cares whose it is? The bet stands. Betting continues. I say it's not mine. 1 million. You in or not? Louder laughter exploded inside. I'm in. I bet it's not his. I'm raising 2 million. I say it's Mark's. He got her drunk the hardest at the last party. Screw you. It could be mine. Filthy words. Like knives. Stabbing my ears again and again. My child. My 8-month-old baby. Just chips in their game. Betting on who the father was. Betting on whether I was some cheap slut. And my husband placed the biggest bet of all, betting that the baby wasn't his. I slowly squatted down. My belly was huge. It hurt to crouch like that, but I didn't move. I took out my phone, unlocked the screen, and opened the recording app. Their laughter and shouting poured out endlessly. Seriously, Hannah's body is still pretty damn good, even pregnant. Shut up. Ethan's right there. Like Ethan cares. If he cared, would he have set this whole thing up? Hey Ethan, once the kid's born and the DNA results are out, how do we split the money? Ethan's voice was light, like he was talking about the weather. Same rules as always. Winner takes all. But no matter whose it is, I'm done with her. I've had my fun. Lydia's coming back next month, right? You letting her move straight in? Yeah, I already changed the password to her birthday. Clean and simple. What about Hannah? Her family isn't even in this city. I'll give her some money and send her off. Or hey, one of you want to take her? Ethan laughed. Another round of disgusting laughter. So how much is the pot now? Someone asked. Let me think. Ethan's 1 million. I put in 2. Mark 1.5, almost 10 million now. Right? This is wild. Crowdfunding a live drama. If Hannah knew she'd been priced at 10 million, I wonder what her face would look like. A good little bunny like her? She'd just cry. Might even beg Ethan not to leave her. I crouched outside the door, my fingers digging into my palm. It hurt, but that pain was nothing compared to what was tearing through my chest. I heard them clink glasses, celebrating their sure-win bet, celebrating my stupidity, celebrating my child's fate. The recording icon glowed red on my phone, like the fire burning inside me. They thought I was just a chip on the table. They didn't know that every crack in that table, every word, every shameless face, was being recorded. I don't know how I left that floor, how I got into the elevator, how I made it back to my car. I shut the door. The world went quiet. I collapsed onto the steering wheel. My body started shaking violently, uncontrollably. Only then did the tears come, silent, flooding out. For myself, and even more for the child inside me, whose own father had turned them into a wager. Before they were even born, they'd already been priced, humiliated, stripped of their right to exist, all because of a game. After maybe 10 minutes, or 20, I lifted my head and wiped my face hard with my sleeve. No more crying. It was useless. I picked up my phone. The screen was still on. Recording length, 17 minutes. I saved it, encrypted it, uploaded it to the cloud. Then I opened my contacts. My fingers were steady. I found a number and dialed. Hello, this is St. Mary's Hospital OBGYN appointment desk. A nurse said gently. Hello. My voice was hoarse, but clear. I'd like to schedule a procedure. Termination of pregnancy. Ma'am. How many weeks pregnant are you? 32 weeks. There was a pause on the other end. Ma'am, at this gestational age, the risks are very high. It requires strict medical indications and ethics committee approval, I know. I cut her off. I have my reasons. Please schedule the earliest possible evaluation. Name, Hannah Miller. The nurse typed. All right, Ms. Miller. We'll arrange an assessment as soon as possible. Please keep your phone available. Thank you. I hung up. My hands weren't shaking anymore. That cold fire inside me burned even hotter. They were waiting for the baby to be born, for a DNA test, to split the money. I wasn't waiting. They wanted a result? I'd give them one they could never verify. They wanted to destroy me with my child? I'd destroy their bet first. They wanted to watch me break down and beg? I'd make them regret it on their knees. I started the car. I didn't go home. I drove to an electronics mall in another district. I bought a few things: micro cameras, button cameras with audio, pinhole lenses, memory cards. Expensive. I paid with the secondary card Ethan had given me. When I got back downstairs to my building, I carried the shopping bag to the door. Out of habit, I entered the password. Beep. Error. I froze. Tried again. Still wrong. The password had been changed. As I was standing at the door, it suddenly opened from the inside. Lydia stood there. My foster sister. She'd spent the past year studying abroad in Europe. She was wearing my silk pajamas, my favorite pair. Hannah! She exclaimed, looking pleasantly surprised, then quickly shifting to guilt. Oh, you're back already. I'm so sorry. So sorry. I just got off the plane and I'm still totally jet-lagged. Ethan said I should rest first. I couldn't find any sleepwear, so I just borrowed yours. You don't mind, right? She kept apologizing with her mouth, but her body stayed firmly planted in the doorway, not moving an inch to let me in. I looked at her, at my pajamas on her body, at the familiar furnishings inside. Ethan walked up behind her, wearing lounge clothes, holding a glass of water. Naturally, he handed it to Lydia. Only then did he look at me. You're back? I changed the door code. Forgot to tell you. His tone was casual. Lydia's moving back to develop her career here, so she'll be staying with us for now. The new password is her birthday, 11/20. Remember it. Her birthday. My home. My husband. He had changed the door code of my home to another woman's birthday, and I, the wife, the so-called lady of the house, had been locked out and needed to remember the new code. Lydia leaned against Ethan and said softly, Ethan, isn't this kind of inappropriate? This is Hannah's home. Ethan put an arm around her shoulders. It's your home too. Don't overthink it. Hannah's not that petty. Only then did he look at me. Right, Hannah? The hand holding my shopping bag tightened until my knuckles turned white, but I nodded. I even forced a smile. Yeah, welcome back, Lydia. I'll remember the password. I typed in 11/20. The door opened. I walked in and changed into slippers. As I passed the living room, I saw Lydia's suitcase on the sofa, wide open, her underwear visible inside. Her lipstick and perfume were spread out on the coffee table. My home was being rapidly overwritten with another woman's presence. "I'm a bit tired. I'll go rest," I said calmly. "Go ahead," Ethan replied without looking at me, turning instead to Lydia. "What do you want for dinner? We should welcome you back properly." I walked upstairs, Lydia's coy laughter trailing behind me. Back in the bedroom, I closed the door. Leaning against it, I slowly slid down to the floor. Nausea, rage, humiliation, they crashed over me like a tide. But I stood up quickly. Now wasn't the time to fall apart. I opened the shopping bag and took out the miniature devices. The next few days passed quietly. Lydia fully assumed the role of lady of the house, directing the cleaners, arranging flowers, planning dinners. Ethan indulged her completely. I became invisible, except for my belly reminding everyone I existed. Quietly, I installed hidden cameras and audio recorders in the bedroom, corners of the living room, and the study. I checked them remotely on my phone, clear and unobstructed. Ethan seemed to have forgotten about the bet. He was even a little nicer to me. That night, he came in with a cup of warm milk. "Drink this. It'll help you sleep." I never drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant. He knew that. "I don't drink milk, Ethan. You know that." I sat on the bed, looking at him. The gentleness vanished from his face instantly. "Drink it." He shoved the cup toward my mouth, his tone absolute. "It's good for the baby. The doctor never said I needed milk," I said, backing away. Suddenly he grabbed my chin, hard. Pain shot through me. "I told you to drink it." His eyes were icy, all warmth gone. "Don't push your luck, Hannah. Be obedient. It's good for you." The cup was forced against my lips. Warm liquid poured in. I struggled and choked, but most of it went down. He let go and watched me cough, his gaze flat, like I was an object. "Go to sleep early." He picked up the empty cup and walked out. The door closed. I knelt by the bed, dry heaving, but nothing came up. Then an unnatural heaviness washed over me, fast, far stronger than ordinary pregnancy fatigue. Something was wrong. I tried to reach for my phone. My arm wouldn't lift. My vision blurred. I thought I heard the bedroom door open. Footsteps. More than one person. I tried to force my eyes open. I only saw several tall, wavering silhouettes, low male laughter, and then, nothing. I woke up the next morning. My head felt like it was splitting open. My whole body ached, as if it had been taken apart and put back together wrong. Especially my lower body. A kind of unspeakable discomfort. Ethan wasn't there. The bed beside me was cold. I sat up slowly and looked around. Everything looked normal, but I knew nothing was. I went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. The woman in the mirror was pale, dark circles under her eyes. There was a faint red mark on my neck. I lifted my nightgown. No obvious bruises, but the feeling wouldn't go away. The milk. That cup of milk. When I drink milk, I get diarrhea. But last night, I didn't. I just passed out and woke up sore all over. That wasn't milk. At least, not just milk. Ethan had drugged me. The thought was sharp and unmistakable, like it had been carved in my mind. This wasn't the first time. Over the past year, I'd occasionally slept unusually deeply and woken up exhausted. I thought it was pregnancy. It wasn't. It was drugs, control, and, to make things easier for others, I rushed back to the bedroom, locked the door, took out my backup phone, and connected to the hidden cameras. I pulled up last night's bedroom footage, fast-forwarded to shortly after Ethan left. On screen, I was unconscious on the bed. The bedroom door opened. Ethan walked in. Lydia followed him. They stood by the bed, looking down at me like I wasn't even alive. Lydia's voice came through the recording, clear as day. "Is the dosage enough? Make sure she doesn't wake up halfway." Ethan replied, "Relax. She'll sleep till morning." "Are Mark and the others here?" "They're downstairs." "In a hurry." Lydia laughed softly. "Really getting a bargain. But that's good, more possibilities. Your bet's even safer now," Ethan said coldly. "Be quick. Don't leave marks. When you're done, put her clothes back on." "Got it." Lydia leaned in and kissed his cheek. You're really ruthless. Willing to hand your own wife over just to win. She's just a tool, Ethan said as he turned away. I'll be in the study. Handle it. He left. Lydia walked to the door and murmured, "Come up." Several men appeared in the doorway and moved toward the bed. Their bodies blocked the camera, but the audio kept recording. Leering laughter, fabric rustling, filthy, unbearable words. My nails dug into my palms until they bled, and I didn't even feel it. I watched. I listened. My stomach churned violently, but I didn't turn it off. My eyes were wide open. I didn't blink until the men left. Lydia came back in, roughly straightened my nightgown, turned off the light, and left. The video ended. I sat in the dark, ice cold, colder than the day I found the vasectomy certificate. The last trace of illusion I had about Ethan, about this marriage, died completely, like ashes, cold, scattered, gone. The part of my heart that had once been soft was now hard as stone, cold as ice. Good. Love was dead. Only hate could keep me alive. I saved the full video, encrypted it, uploaded it. This was proof of the timeline. This was evidence of their crimes. A few days later, Ethan came home briefly to grab a document. I was in the living room, pretending to read. He rushed in, saw me, and frowned. "Why are you home? Didn't you go to prenatal yoga?" "It was cancelled today," I said, eyes still on the page. He didn't say anything else and hurried upstairs. He casually left his phone on the coffee table. The screen lit up, a message notification. I put the book down and walked over. The phone was locked. I knew the password. He'd told me before. It was our anniversary, 0807, after Lydia came back. I assumed he'd changed it. Still, I tried 0807. It unlocked. He hadn't changed it. Probably thought I'd never touch his phone, or thought I was too stupid to guard against. I moved fast. Social apps, work email, everything looked normal. But then I noticed an icon I'd never seen him use before. A game app. Ethan never played games. I tapped it. It asked for a second password. I tried Lydia's birthday, 11/20. It opened. It wasn't a game at all. It was a completely separate system interface. Inside, there was only one chat group. The group name burned my eyes at the top of the screen, Miller Betting Pool, private group. I opened it. The latest message was from Lydia, "Same place tonight?" Celebrating the final stage of the bet. At everyone a flood of replies followed. I scrolled up. Vile, disgusting chat history. Photos of me, secretly taken candid shots. Pictures of my daily life. Even photos taken from invasive, private angles had been posted in the group for commentary. There was a spreadsheet. Dates. Names. My schedule over the past few months. Next to each entry were prices, records of those men's bets and participation. Lydia was very active in the chat. "Mark won last time. Whose turn is it this time?" "Ethan. Your wife looks thinner lately. Too stressed?" "Ha ha ha." Ethan replied with a cold smirk emoji. "Whether she's stressed or not doesn't affect the outcome. Final winner takes all." "Has the DNA testing agency been lined up?" "Needs to be fast." "Don't worry. It's all arranged. Sample will be taken the moment the baby's born." I moved fast, taking photos. Screen recordings with my own phone. My hands were steady. My heart rate didn't even rise. So this wasn't a single betrayal. I'd been laid out on a cutting board and carved up. Over and over again. My life. My body. Priced. Traded. Shared. Mocked. Footsteps sounded on the stairs. I immediately exited the system. Locked the phone. Put it back where it was. Returned to the sofa. And picked up my book. Ethan came downstairs with the file. Glanced at his phone. Noticed nothing unusual. "I've got a dinner tonight. Won't be home," he said. Then, as an afterthought, "Lydia's meeting friends too. She won't be back. You eat on your own." "Okay." I didn't look up. He left. The door closed. I set the book down. The photos and videos I'd just taken had already been automatically uploaded to the cloud. On Saturday night, Ethan suddenly told me to go out with him. "Dress formally. It's a celebration," he said, tossing me a dress. It was tight, low-cut, completely inappropriate for a pregnant woman. "I don't feel well. I don't want to go," I said. That part was true. My belly felt tight and uncomfortable. His face darkened. "Hannah, don't ruin this. This event is important. Business partners. Can I stay home? I insisted. No! He lost his patience. Look at yourself. What do you even look like anymore? You sit at home all day. Not human. Not ghost. Come out. Get some air. Don't embarrass me. He strode over and grabbed my arm. Hard. Change. Now. Ethan. My stomach hurts, I struggled. Don't use the baby as an excuse. He shouted. If it weren't for that thing in your belly, you think I'd still put up with you? Know your place. He practically dragged me into the closet and threw the dress at me. 10 minutes. If you're not out, I'll change you myself. I looked at his twisted face and knew resistance was pointless. I put on the ridiculous dress. It squeezed my belly so tightly I could barely breathe. Satisfied, he yanked me out, shoved me into the car. The celebration was at an upscale private club. Neon lights, luxury, perfume and suits everywhere. The moment I walked in, I felt countless eyes on me. Shock, curiosity, and more than anything, barely concealed contempt and amusement. Ethan pulled me into a circle of men. Familiar faces. I'd seen them in the surveillance footage. In the chat group. Well, look who's here, here. Mark whistled, his eyes roaming over me. That belly's huge. Ethan, you don't feel sorry for her at all? Ethan laughed and patted his shoulder. She's tough. Lydia was there too, wearing a striking red dress, clinging affectionately to another man's arm. When she saw me, she looked surprised. Hannah, you came too? That dress, isn't it a bit inappropriate? Low laughter rippled through the group. Ethan shoved me toward the center of the dance floor. Go on, dance for everyone, liven things up. I froze. I don't know how to dance. Just move around, someone shouted. Don't be shy, Ethan. Your wife's not giving face. Ethan's expression turned ugly. He leaned in and hissed. Hannah, don't embarrass me. Go dance. I looked at him, at the faces around me, eager for entertainment. They wanted to see me humiliated, to see me struggle, to grind the last scraps of my dignity into the floor. I took a deep breath. The baby inside me moved. Fine. I lifted my head and put on a compliant, almost timid smile. Okay, I'll dance. I stepped into the center. The music was loud, the lights blinding. I didn't know how to dance. I just swayed awkwardly with the music, one hand protecting my belly. Clumsy. Ridiculous. The laughter and whistling grew louder. Phones came out. Photos. Videos. Ethan watched from the side, a strange look of satisfaction on his face, like an owner showing off a well-trained pet. Lydia walked over with 2 glasses of water. She handed one to Ethan, one to me. Hannah, you must be tired. Have some water, she said sweetly, her eyes icy. I stared at the clear liquid. Ethan took his glass, drank, then looked at me. If Lydia gives it to you, take it. I took the glass, didn't drink. I'm done dancing. Can I go home now? I'm really tired. I asked. Drink the water. He ordered. Finish it, and I'll have the driver take you home. I looked at the glass, then at them. There was impatience in Lydia's eyes. Ethan's face was blank. Everyone around us was watching. I knew exactly what was in that water. The same as the milk that night. Probably worse. I nodded. Okay, I'll drink it and leave. I raised the glass, tilted my head back. The liquid slid down my throat. Slightly bitter. A strange taste. Ethan and Lydia exchanged a look and visibly relaxed. I handed the empty glass back. Thanks. Then I turned to leave. 2 steps. The world spun. Everything warped and dimmed. Sounds drifted away. My legs gave out. I fell forward. I didn't hit the ground. Someone caught me. Mark. His arm wrapped around my waist. Tight. His hand wandered. What's wrong? Sister-in-law? Drunk? He chuckled into my ear. Lydia came over, feigning concern. Oh no. Hannah. Such a lightweight? It was just water. Ethan's voice floated over, cold and distant. Mark. Take care of her. Bring her upstairs to rest. Gladly. Mark sounded excited. I was half dragged, half carried away. My vision blurred further. The last thing I saw, Ethan with his arm around Lydia, turning back to chat and laugh with the others. And Lydia looking back at me, that smug, vicious smile on her face. Before consciousness fully slipped away, I used the last of my strength to whisper, no idea to whom, "You'll regret this." No one heard. Or if they did, no one cared. Pain tore me out of the darkness. I was lying on the floor, cold, hard, not the soft carpet of the club, my living room floor. Dawn was just breaking. The house was silent. The pain came from my abdomen, cramping tighter and tighter, like a hand tearing me apart from the inside. I curled up. Cold sweat soaked through my clothes instantly. My hand brushed my legs. Wet. Sticky. I brought it up into the light. Blood. So much blood. The baby. I tried to crawl. My limbs wouldn't obey. The pain made my vision go black. Help. My voice was barely a whisper. No answer. Ethan wasn't there. Lydia wasn't there either. They had left me here alone. After drugging me, after taking me away, they threw me back into this cold house and disappeared. I dragged myself forward, inch by inch, leaving a dark red trail behind me. Finally, I made it to the door. I raised my hand, trying to knock, trying to call for help, before my fingers even touched the door. It opened from the outside. Lydia stood there, dressed neatly, perfectly made up, as if about to go out. She saw me and jumped back, wrinkling her nose, waving a hand in front of her face. "Oh my God, what is that smell?" She stepped back, looking at me with disgust, staring at the blood on the floor. "What did you do to yourself? See, call ambulance." I grabbed the hem of her pants, voice barely a whisper. Lydia kicked my hand away. What a nuisance. She pulled out her phone, not to call emergency services, but to dial Ethan. "Ethan, your wife looks like she's miscarried. So much blood. On the floor at home. Disgusting. What should we do?" Her tone was coy, almost playful. I sank to the bottom of despair. From the phone, Ethan's voice came through faintly. Impatient. "Shut up. Clean it. Don't die at home. I'll deal with it when I'm done." "Got it." Lydia hung up, looked down at me, eyes icy. "Ethan says handle it yourself. Don't die here. Bad luck." Without hesitation, she turned and walked away. "Wait," I tried to call after her with all my strength. She stopped and looked back. "Please, the baby," I whispered, tears and cold sweat streaming down. Lydia smiled, a beautiful but cruel smile. "Baby? That bastard?" She gently closed the door. "Better if it's dead. Ethan's bet is guaranteed to win." The lock clicked. The last light vanished. The world returned to darkness and cold. Pain washed over me again. Consciousness blurred. I thought I heard a distant ambulance siren, or was it a hallucination? I didn't know. Darkness consumed everything. I woke again to the sterile smell of a hospital. White ceiling. Floor drip. My abdomen was empty. That heavy, familiar fetal movement, gone. A female doctor stood by my bed. Her expression serious but sympathetic. "Ms. Miller, you're awake. I'm so sorry, we couldn't save the baby. Massive hemorrhage. You arrived too late." I looked at her. No expression on my face. My heart felt hollow. "It was a boy," the doctor added softly. "A boy." I had imagined his name. The little clothes I would buy him. Now, all gone. Killed by his father. And his father's lover. Together. "What about my body?" I asked. Voice hoarse but unnervingly calm. "You need time to recover. The dilation and curettage is done. You're still young. In the future, doctor." I interrupted. "The tissue from the miscarriage, what usually happens to it in hospitals?" She hesitated. "It's treated as medical waste. Or, if you have special requests. For example, a pathological examination." "No," I said firmly. "Please handle it separately. Seal it in a medical-grade container. I want to take it with me." The doctor looked surprised. "Ms. Miller, that's highly irregular. I'll sign a waiver and cover any fees." I stared into her eyes. "Please, this is very important to me." She hesitated. Then, seeing my pale but resolute face, nodded slowly. "All right. I'll arrange it." "Thank you," I said. "Also, before my husband or family arrives, please don't disclose details. Just say I need complete bed rest." The doctor's eyes softened further. "Understood." After she left, I picked up the phone by the bed, switched off. I turned it on. Countless missed calls and messages. Most from Ethan, then Lydia, The latest message. From Ethan just an hour ago. Call me when you wake. DNA sample? Don't mess with me. Looking at the time. It was the afternoon after the club's wild night. They'd had their fun and finally remembered the tool of their bet. Want to know the DNA results? Want to see who won? I smiled. A cold, sharp smile. I dialed a number. Not Ethan's. A special courier I had arranged in advance. The items ready. Delivered to the club's VIP room at the address I sent you. Tonight, 8 p.m. sharp. Must be signed for personally. Express. Insured. The courier confirmed. I hung up, watching the sky darken outside. Ethan, Lydia, Mark, all the betters. You wanted the results? I'd deliver them, in an oversized, unforgettable package. At exactly 8 p.m., the private club's top-floor VIP room. Almost all the members of the bet were there, celebrating what they thought was a sure victory. Ethan sat in the head seat, in a good mood. Lydia leaned against him, serving drinks to the others. Ethan, you're amazing. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, solved the problem and won the bet. Mark gushed. That stupid Hannah. Probably still crying in the hospital. Ha! Another man laughed. What's the use of crying? A bet is a bet. Get your money ready, Ethan said smugly. At that moment, the VIP room door was knocked. A courier in uniform entered, carrying a square, tightly sealed phone box. Mr. Miller, express delivery. Signature required. Ethan frowned. Who sent this? Sender, H.M. The courier said. H.M. Hannah Miller. The room fell silent. All eyes on the box. Lydia looked uneasy. Ethan. Don't tell me it's a prank, Ethan scoffed. What could she do now? He signaled the courier to set it down. Sign for it. The courier left. The box sat in the center of the table. A faint chemical smell emanated, like a hospital. Open it? Someone encouraged. Ethan grabbed a table knife and cut the tape. He lifted the foam lid. Inside was a transparent, medical-grade, biohazard container. Inside, immersed in formalin. A small, fully formed fetal tissue. A faint outline of head and limbs could be seen. The room went deathly silent. The pungent formalin smell spread immediately. Then, Lydia screamed. A piercing, soul-shattering scream. Ah! She stumbled backward, knocking over her glass, trembling all over. The men's faces changed too. Some covered their noses and gagged. Others stepped back in shock. Ethan's face went pale. He stared at the container, hands trembling. Beneath the container, a printed note had been pressed down. Ethan trembled as he pulled it out. On it, in bold font, a single sentence: the bet is over. Your chips are returned. Bonus, the murder evidence has been secured. The game begins now. Signed, H. No, no, Ethan screamed, crumpling the note violently, kicking the box as if insane. The container toppled to the floor. Liquid spilled. The stench intensified. Panic exploded instantly. She knows. She knows everything. That's the baby? She miscarried? Murder evidence? What does she mean? Quick, contact her. Get rid of it. Ethan fumbled with his phone. Dialing my number. Sorry, the number you dialed is switched off. He tried again. Switched off. He called the hospital. They only said the patient needed rest. Couldn't take calls. He called home. No answer. Hannah had vanished, leaving only this bloody gift and a declaration of war. Ethan slumped onto the sofa, cold sweat pouring down. His earlier smug confidence had turned into sheer terror. For the next 3 days, all was quiet. Hannah didn't appear. No calls. No messages. But Ethan's world was already unraveling. First, several key business partners suddenly suspended cooperation, citing various reasons and demanding re-audits. Then, vague rumors began circulating internally: executives' misconduct, legal violations. Ethan scrambled desperately, trying to suppress the news, trying to find me. On the 4th morning, a video link quietly began circulating within local financial circles and social networks and exploded like wildfire. The title was simple: Miller family heirs shocking bet, wife and unborn child wagered. Humanity lost. The video had been edited, but the critical recordings were crystal clear. Hidden audio outside the office: he's had a vasectomy, but she still got pregnant? Bet on who the father is. I bet it's not mine. Almost 10 million now, right? Home surveillance footage, Ethan and Lydia coldly discussing drugging. The bet. Cleaning up. Phone group chat screen recordings, spreadsheets with price tags. Lewd photos. Obscene messages. Even blurry but identifiable footage outside the club VIP room, me being drugged and taken away. Ethan watching indifferently. Finally. Hospital documents, miscarriage. Massive hemorrhage. Delayed medical care. And a close-up of the bet is over note. The chain of evidence was complete. The audio clear. The visual impact devastating. Especially the core bombshell, pregnant wife and unborn child used as bet stakes. Instant outrage and morbid curiosity ignited. Video views skyrocketed exponentially. Hashtag Miller family bet, hashtag human nature exposed, hashtag pregnant miscarriage comments erupted. Monsters. Worse than pigs. This is murder. Pure. Naked murder. That poor woman, her child was killed, law must punish. Hunt these scum down. Who'd dare invest in Miller Company? Rotten to the core. Contracts for cooperation were abruptly cancelled. Stocks plummeted on opening, triggering circuit breakers. The board convened an emergency meeting, Ethan suspended. Crisis management launched to try to contain the damage. Too late. The video had spread too fast, too wide. Capital fears negative publicity, especially scandals that expose human depravity. Banks withdrew loans. Partners pulled out. Consumers boycotted. The Miller family's decades of cultivated reputation and commercial empire collapsed visibly, almost in real time. By noon, police arrived, charging Ethan with intentional injury, illegal detention, and distribution of obscene materials. Among other crimes, Lydia tried to flee but was stopped at the airport. The brothers who had once celebrated and bet in the group chat quickly distanced themselves, blaming each other. Some even proactively provided further evidence to the police. The walls fell, and everyone pushed. Ethan sat in the detention cell, hair disheveled, eyes hollow. For the first time, he truly felt regret, not for hurting me, but for being exposed and destroying himself. Before his phone was confiscated, he saw, one last time, the family group's scolding messages, the board's dismissal notice, lawyer texts warning him the situation was dire, and countless curse-laden messages from strangers. He knew. He was finished. Completely finished. A week later, I visited Ethan in detention with a lawyer. He wore a prison uniform, unshaven, sunken eyes. He looked 10 years older in just a few days. When he saw me, his eyes widened, and he slammed against the glass, hands pounding. Hannah, listen, I was forced. It's all Lydia. Mark and the others pressured me. I love you. I really loved you. Please, withdraw the charges. Help clear this up. I can't go to prison. The company can't collapse. He babbled, tears streaming. No trace left of his former arrogance or cold disdain. I watched him quietly, expressionless. When he ran out of breath, I picked up the intercom. Ethan, the child is dead. He froze. His crying stopped. You, Lydia, and all your brothers killed him. No, that was an accident, he stammered. Whether it was an accident, the court will decide, I said calmly. I'm not here to hear your confession. I'm here to negotiate terms. Terms? He clutched at straws. Money? I'll give you anything. Just help me, divorce. I spat the word. Ethan froze. As long as you agree to the divorce and sign this fully one-sided settlement and property division agreement. I gestured to the lawyer holding a copy against the glass. I will provide the court with a statement acknowledging your remorse afterward, and refrain from pursuing more serious charges that could land you in prison for life. The terms were harsh. Nearly all his personal cash, investments, and real estate would go to me, including our current home. Ethan's face twitched as he read them. This is too much. Hannah, you're trying to strip me bare. You don't have to sign, I said indifferently. Then wait for the prosecutor to charge you with intentional attempted murder and organized sexual assault. Oh, and your company's mess will need cash fast. Guess if the family will protect you? Guess if your brothers will dump more dirt on you? With every word, Ethan's face turned whiter. He was now completely isolated, disgraced, facing severe prison time. His family, in a desperate bid to protect themselves, had abandoned him. He needed a lifeline. even if it meant signing an extremely unequal agreement. Sign this, and you only lose your assets. Don't sign, and you lose your freedom, your entire remaining life. I said softly, like the whisper of a demon. What's it going to be, Ethan? He buried his face in his hands, writhing in agony. In the end, his fear of prison overpowered everything else. I'll sign, he croaked, voice hoarse, trembling with tears. The lawyer went in and had him formally sign the documents. Among them was a voluntary equity transfer agreement he barely glanced at, transferring all of his shares, held in a small, obscure tech company he had almost forgotten, to me, free of charge. That company had been a casual investment from years ago, nearly forgotten, but in the past 6 months, due to a breakthrough technology, its valuation had quietly surged hundreds of times. The news was not yet public. Ethan's attention was entirely on the divorce and escaping punishment. He didn't notice signatures, fingerprints. The process was quick. I folded the documents and stood. Hannah, Ethan said, his eyes complex behind the glass, fear, hatred, and a faint, indistinct emotion he couldn't even name. Are we really done? I looked at the man I had once loved, the one I had entrusted my life to. Now, he was a stranger. No, more than a stranger, an enemy. Ethan, I said calmly, my voice flat. From the moment you treated me as a bet, we were done. From the moment you allowed others to harm my child, you ceased to be worthy of being human. Enjoy your new life. I turned and walked away. 3 months later, Ethan was sentenced on multiple charges. But thanks to my statement of forgiveness and the partial ambiguity of some evidence, his prison term was slightly shorter than expected. Combined with the remnants of his family's influence, he was granted parole. The day he was released, the weather was clear. He returned alone, wearing the same clothes he had worn to prison. With only a few dollars in his pocket, he went back to the home that had once belonged to him and Hannah, later changed to Lydia's birthday as the code. Now presumably empty. He wanted to shower, change clothes, and figure out his next move. But at the door, he found the lock code had changed again. He rang the bell. A completely unfamiliar Asian man answered, wearing a bathrobe, frowning. Who are you looking for? Ethan froze. I live here. I'm Ethan Miller. Miller? The man thought for a moment. Oh, the former owner. I bought this place in full last month. The previous owner's paperwork was clean. Why are you here? Bought it? Ethan felt like he'd been struck by lightning. Impossible. This house is mine. The title is now under my name. The man said impatiently. Leave now, or I'll call the police. With that, he slammed the door. Ethan stood rooted to the spot. The house was gone. He remembered the clause in the divorce agreement. Indeed, that property had been assigned to Hannah. He hadn't expected her to sell it so quickly. He tried calling Hannah. Still switched off. He called his former assistant. It rang a long time before anyone answered. Mr. Miller? The voice was cold. Yes. My car, my office things, what about the company? Mr. Miller. The assistant interrupted. You are no longer an employee. Your personal items have been handled according to former CEO Hannah Miller's instructions. The company is doing very well. The new CEO is highly capable. New CEO? Who? Ethan had a sinking feeling. Hannah Miller herself. She acquired most of the shares the family had offloaded and is now the largest individual shareholder and CEO. Oh, and she listed the small tech company you'd almost forgotten independently. Its market value is now astonishing. Truly, Ms. Miller's vision and strategy are impressive. Her words hit him like a series of heavy blows. The company was now Hannah's? The small, forgotten company had become a golden goose? He had thought divorce was survival, cutting off a painful past, but he hadn't expected Hannah to orchestrate a complete extraction and absorption of all his value. Marriage had been a facade. She had set the stage long ago, waiting for him to sign, then swallowing everything he had. Lydia? He croaked, clinging to a last shred of hope. The assistant paused, voice oddly calm. Miss Lydia? She took the money you had given her and went to South America with another wealthy businessman. Apparently, she's doing quite well. Ethan slid down the cold wall, sitting on the floor, betrayed by all, left with nothing, a joke in the world. Madness and rage filled his eyes. Hannah! It was all Hannah! He wanted revenge. He had some old connections he could still call on. He struggled to his feet, staggering into the street, but two bulky men in jackets blocked him. Ethan Miller? We are police. You are suspected of involvement in a cross-border financial fraud and illegal theft of trade secrets. Come with us to assist the investigation. Cold handcuffs snapped onto his wrists again. Not far away, a black sedan slowly drove off. In the back seat, I lowered the window, watching Ethan being led into the police car. His expression one of disbelief, utterly broken. My phone rang, confirmation from the precinct that the suspect was in custody. Got it. Handle it according to protocol, I said casually. I hung up and told the driver. To the airport. The car merged into traffic. Outside the window, the city receded. Ethan, Lydia, the bets, the betrayals, the deaths, all left behind. In my hand, a first-class ticket to Switzerland. There, a new bank account, a new identity, a fresh start. And with the wealth acquired from Ethan and the Miller family, I established a new fund. The plane ascended through the clouds. I watched the shrinking city below, the sunlight shining brightly above the clouds. My world, from now on, had nothing to do with them.